my name is Isis Paola Giraldo Prada Mantilla, but I go by Chiquitamagic. And I just released an album. It's called Fantasi, and you can listen to it on Bandcamp for now. And on the 18th, it'll be out everywhere. So wherever, Spotify, iTunes, all that. And yeah, I'm from Colombia. I live in Toronto. I co-live in LA with my friends in this house. I sleep on this couch when I'm here, and I work in that corner. So this is kind of like my little studio when I'm here. And yeah, I have a lot of music out. And I'm trying to do something that is really fresh and different and inspired by so many genres like dance music, jazz, electronic music. It's like a fusion, and have it be fun. That's the goal, that it's like fun to listen to and dance to. When I started, I was just kind of doing more jazz and piano and classical piano because that's what I grew up doing. But then it just kind of, I got bored by it, and I got bored by like the scene surrounding it. I feel like the jazz scene can be really boring and kind of dated and kind of stuck in this other era that doesn't resonate with me. So I was like, okay, how do I like get out of this like tonality thing, like with the piano, especially because the piano is such a specific tonal vibe. And that's when I found the synthesizer, and so I started playing that in a friend's band, and I really liked it. And then I was like, oh man, this is so cool. So I started writing on it, and then it just was like a natural progression. Like I started using like the Casio beats on my keyboard, as I didn't have any drum machines, so I would just like do the Casio beats. And then I was like, okay, maybe I should get a drum machine. So then I got the TR-09, which is like the remake of it's like the Radio Shack remake of the original 909. And then I would do shows like that, just like Casio, microKORG, and 909. And then it was weird though, because like Lewis can tell you, because we used to tour together when I had the Casio and I had to sample my own voice in, because that was like the patch. But the thing is, if like any engineer like disconnected it between the sound check and the show, my patch would just be gone. So then I would have to do it like live in time for the show, and it was so fucking crazy annoying. So I was like, maybe I should get another synth that I don't have to do that. Even though I think actually that sound was really cool, but whatever. So then yeah, I just kind of started getting more into the electronic thing little by little, and then I started exploring more and more, and it started becoming more fun. And then I started DJing, and I just kind of started to get out of like the whole traditionalist. And then it became more, and then I was like, okay, what about the image? Because I think that also goes hand in hand with the music. So then I started thinking about the image and kind of questioning, like, as a Latina woman, kind of what I wanted to represent. And so I started playing around with more of that, and now meeting you and meeting my friend Dixie, who helps me in Toronto. She's like a Mexican stylist and artist. It's solidified more. I feel like I have more of a team of women around me that like help me visualize the like dream, or visualize the vision or sorry, like what's the word, like, yeah, materialize the vision. Exactly.
Well, for those who are new here, I can give you a quick tour on what I think, okay?
I love that. I trust you.
It's like the most iconic faces of Chiquitamagic. Starts with Naturaleza, of course. It's like, feels like score music, source music, poetry, concrete music. And es irremediablemente sonido del sur. The south of the continent. It's like it has the sound of the south of the continent.
I love that. I should say also, yeah, like that, all that album, that first album, it's all my late father's. It's la poesía de mi papi. Sí, de mi papá, que falleció, pero quería hacer como un honor a él y por eso se llama Padre el disco que después vino. And yeah, so it's all my dad's poetry and stuff, and he never like got published or anything, so I wanted to like kind of commemorate uh, his writing. It's funny because that was like an era, and then I was like, I'm done with this era. But it was also because it was really emotionally hard. Yeah, it was like that's why I'm flipped to having more fun because I would like cry after every show, and I was just like, man, I don't know if this is what I want to do with my life, you know? Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
After Naturaleza, Porque eres tú, is what I will say. Wow. It's a pop, a ballad pop. Yeah. And then you have like the quantum jump into Mexico Sexy Time. Yep. Which I think, in my perspective, my humble perspective, is like this disrupted pop. Yeah. So it's kind of like a breakthrough, and then we have Cozy, and then now Fantasi, and I feel these three last albums are like they are part of this new era.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think this new era is more. I think it's found a different, and it'll probably keep evolving. Like I don't really know where it's going. I don't know where Chiquitamagic's gonna go next. Like the sound of that project, but I feel like this last Fantasi for me like is maybe the end of something. It feels like it might be the end of something because I feel like it's a universe. Like I don't know if I could go explore more of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like it's coming more techno though.
That's true. And now exactly. So maybe that's where it's going now. And I'm actually working on a techno album. So that makes sense. Yeah. Any ads of gear that I want?
Yeah, or something that you want to explore.
Yeah, I feel like I would want to get like some real decks next. Cuz I've been DJing on like Serato and on a CDJ. Or not, sorry, not on a CDJ, like on one of those controllers, like the Serato, like yeah. Well, it's a real controller, but it's just through Serato. And I feel like CDJs would just, because I don't like having to look at the screen when I'm DJing, and right now I am. So I feel like that would be the next thing. It's just that I'm not DJing enough to like warrant a big purchase like that right now. But I feel like I feel like that's like the next thing. I want to kind of break into that world of just like full on raves, DJing parties. Even like I was thinking Fantasi could be an album that I just DJ because I don't know how I would do it live because there's so much happening. Yeah. So I feel like it might just be fun to do it on the decks and have that be like how I present the album live. And then as far as the collaboration stuff, like I think that just to say a little bit about it, like all of those people that you mentioned are like my top musician. Like I feel like they're the top, not top, like top is such a weird word, but just like my favorite musicians alive right now. And so I feel really fucking lucky to somehow be able to meet them and make music with them and like share ideas with them. I think that's something that's missing a lot in all of our lives, like sharing ideas and sharing creativity together, like collectively, like not without like stealing from each other, you know what I mean? It's more just about like this collective purpose and sound. And I feel like all the people you mentioned, we all have that where it's like we're going for something that's fresh, I think. And we're all doing it differently, but I think that everybody in that list is like doing something so themselves. And I only want to work with people that do that shit because that keeps me inspired. It's like, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's all I'll say. I don't know what else to say about the collaboration aspect, but I feel like that's an important thing.
Now that you mentioned that, let's talk about a little bit about like community and how it's like the importance of having a community.
Oh my god, yeah. So important. I mean, to me, that's the most important. Also because I work alone a lot. Like I work in my room by myself, just like making shit up. And so sometimes it can get really lonely. And I think it's really healthy to like be able, like when I come to LA, where it's like I see all my friends and we all listen to each other's stuff and we all like drive around each other's like cars and just listening to the mixes and like giving each other ideas or just like feedback and stuff. And it I think community is important, not only for the fact that it's like we're humans and we need that, we're like tribalistic in a way, but also because it keeps us connected to not just ourselves. You know what I mean? I feel like it can be so egocentric when we're just working on our stuff, but it's so important to like look outward too and be like, oh, especially with people, especially finding a community you respect. Like that's the most important thing too. Like not just any community, but like a community that resonates with you and that you want to support. And like, and that's also important, like supporting, like working with the people that you admire. You know what I mean? Like you, like hiring Coraima has been doing like a lot of the visuals for Fantasi, for example, and I really respect her work, and so it's really fun to do that with people that you like resonate with. I mean, yeah, I could talk about community for days, but I think it's a really important aspect of being an artist. Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. She killed it. If you haven't seen it, go see it because está increíble.
Let's talk about fantasy. So let's go to the basics. You know,
Yeah.
this is most because I want to throw that message to all the girlies and the queers that maybe feel a little bit not that sure of sharing their concepts or their work, because sometimes it's kind of hard because you already have this huge weight on being a female or being a queer person.
Um. Okay, well, it's so many things, man. But basically, I was really tired of writing songs. Like I was bored. I get bored by shit, and then I like want to do something different. I was tired of like having like verse, chorus, pre-chorus, outro, like just these forms of for writing songs were just like, oh, like I'm like, okay, how do I make a dance record but like have it be different? So the like initial concept was just these like moments. Like I want every track to just feel like this like isolated moment, kind of like when you're tripping a little bit, where it's like it's some kind of like a little mushroom trip. Genevieve and I were driving back from the beach the other day and we were listening to the album and I was like, it kind of feels like we're on mushrooms. And she's like, exactly, like it feels like you're tripping. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to take myself first of all out of reality into like another like land. So I don't know. That was the initial concept, and then it kind of moved to like, okay, how do I make dance beats and dance music? So then I got a new drum machine and I started fucking around with that and I recorded that. So it was like the beats were the first thing, and then it was all of the choral writing, because once I listened to the beats I was like, okay, it's missing the high end. I feel like it's like the beats are like the dance part and then the choral stuff is like the classical shit that lives inside of me. So it's that contrast, and then the sexiness is like te lo dejo gratis, like when I like just talk into the microphone, and because I really like ASMR too, and ASMR was like a big inspiration for this whole album, just like talking in the microphone. So yeah, and then the visuals, which was the last element, I knew I wanted it to be from another world, and that's why I knew it needed to be like not just me working on it, because sometimes that's the one thing with even with music, like sometimes you just need another person's vision to help you realize your own thing, because it's hard to see yourself outside of yourself, you know what I mean? So yeah, I want it to be an escape, a sexy escape from reality a little bit. um yeah, that's it.
Sexy escape from reality.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Trademark that.
Yeah. I want to just before we end, I because you mentioned like for creatives and queer creatives and femme creatives that are like, what the fuck do I do? I think that I can't speak for anyone else, but in my experience, I think that the best thing you can do is just like, don't be afraid of the weird ideas, you know? Those are kind of the best ideas in my music, when I'm like, oh, is this fucking crazy? And then it ends up being like the coolest thing. It's hard to like trust that, because we have to just follow our hearts and follow our intuition with it. But I think that even though that's like the hardest thing to do, I think that's actually the best thing to do, you know? And I know what it's like. The industry is just like such a bitch, and the world can be so like transphobic and dumb and just like ignorant and just stupid, you know? I feel like not being able to create something that is outside of that is like the healthiest thing. That's why I want to create work that is like not from this world, kind of, you know, as much as I can. That's the goal. Well, you can find me everywhere. It's the same name, Chiquitamagic, one word. Chiquitamagic para los españolantes. And I don't know what I don't know. This next phase feels kind of fun. Like, I feel like I'm exploring a bunch of different shit. Like, I'm making a techno album. I'm doing a solo piano album. And like maybe recording with duo with Justin, which we did yesterday. I'm just kind of open. I want to be open to just doing so many things, like not just one genre, not just one scene, just kind of like, I feel like that's the way to stay inspired. Because I feel like when you become like a scenester, it's like it just everything kind of closes up.
It does. It's so boring.
Exactly. So I don't want to become a scenester. That's my goal. Yeah, I don't know. That's it. Thank you for having me.